Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. We are here at Digital Assets Forum in London. I am Alona Stein, co-CEO at ReBlonde PR agency. And joining me today is Dovile Silenskyte.
Yes.
Head of Digital Assets Research at WisdomTree. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to talk about this.
Of course. So we're like halfway through the first day of the conference. What were you excited the most up until now? What caught the most attention for you?
So it's always fascinating to come to a place where a large number of both industry participants are at and where a big portion of investors are at. So it's very good to see discussions happening between individual groups and both groups talking to each other. And it's always fascinating to see what people are working on and see what I could expect coming to the next conference.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be excited about here. So your position is pretty unique in the research space. You're able to kind of like get the idea of what's going on. I'm sure a lot of people ask you like, where should I invest? What should I do? Let's talk a little bit about the changes that you see between the US and Europe right now in terms of like the behavior of investment.
So in the US, they launched Bitcoin products that were very, very successful. They attracted billions of flows. And then they launched Ethereum. And now there are a few other altcoin exposures that are physically backed. In Europe, we have been leading the space for over 5 years. We have had many different exposures in single coin basis, so Bitcoin and a number of altcoins. And also in Europe, we have very strong position with crypto baskets. And I always tell investors that if you want to invest into crypto, most of you start with Bitcoin because Bitcoin has the name brand, it has the recognition, it has the track record. But Bitcoin is store value asset. And if you want to benefit from the growth that is going to come from blockchain, if you want to benefit from assets being tokenized on blockchains, on stablecoins gaining a lot of traction, on new apps being built out on various blockchains, then you want to invest into that everything else part of the crypto universe. But in everything else part, you have tens of thousands of tokens. And unless you have somebody like me in the house, and I always like highlighting, a person who's spending 100% of his or her time running research on individual blockchains, then it's impossible for that investor to know which blockchain will be successful, which blockchain actually has real world adoption, and which blockchain has most of the developer engagement. So for those investors who want to have growth that's coming from the developments that are happening, from the future of finance being built on blockchains, investing in crypto basket is the most sensible way forward. And for crypto baskets, there are many different indices. Some of them are broad, and I call them S&P 500s of crypto. Others are more narrow, and more narrow ones can even be on equal weighted basis. So investor, before going with the basket, they need to take a look at the index, take a look at the index rules, and make sure that that index is giving them what they're looking for. But then they can relax. So they made the allocation, and I always say, if you invest into crypto, please do not ever panic buy or panic sell. Have a plan. You just say, I want to have a market cap neutral position, which is 1 to 2% of your total portfolio. I want to have this exposure. You make the allocation, and you decide that you are balancing on monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, annual basis, however frequently is appropriate for you. And then the basket will evolve together with the changes that are happening in the blockchain space. And you as investor will end up holding the blockchains that have the largest market shares, that have largest adoption, best liquidity. So it just removes the headache of self-managing broad crypto exposure. And self-managing broad crypto exposure is not an easy task.
I feel like your advice could also very much be relevant to the traditional market. I mean, go for indexes, go for baskets, go for those who do the research and know what to do and have thought about this for you ahead instead of just like running around.
Exactly. So for me, it's fascinating. I have traditional asset experience. I spent many years looking at equities. And equities, they have had long track record. And now I see individuals in crypto space, they are learning what is already well known in traditional asset space. And I'm sure that all of them will get to the position where you say, I will rely on professionals for them to build the stuff. I will partner with professionals, and then I'll do what I'm best at. Yeah, so this is quite an interesting space.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hype around all kinds of different stuff. We spoke briefly about social media before and how everyone can become an expert, and it's very, very much easy for others to follow. But I mean, just like, the world has taught us for any other field, go for the professionals. They know.
Exactly.
They know what to do best.
Exactly. And do not ever get pulled into social media hypes, because there's plenty of that in crypto space. And I myself, I post on social media, but it's not that you post and try to tell people what you do. You post something when you want to educate them.
Yeah.
And that's a very key importance that hopefully readers are able to recognize.
I hope so too. I'm going to be following for sure.
Excellent.
Sounds like a good advice is going to be there. Anything else you want to share with our audience today?
So if people want to read what I publish, it's all available for free on WisdomTree European website. And also I have a Crypto Clarified podcast where I invite crypto market participants and I ask them to talk about what they do in simple language. Sometimes when they get too much into weeds, I ask them to re-explain for a 5-year-old so that it's really easy to understand. So if anybody wants to see what's happening with different blockchains, Crypto Clarified podcast is a good place to start.
Amazing. So make sure to tune in and to follow the WisdomTree European blog. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleasure.